Most people will look at this equation and think it is extremely difficult. But stay with me until the end, because I will show you a very simple trick that makes this Harvard entrance-style math problem much easier than it looks. And along the way, you will learn an important math idea that can help you solve many similar problems. So here we have a math question that looks like it comes from a Harvard entrance exam, and we are going to solve it together step by step. At first glance, the problem may seem very hard, but I want to solve it for you using a very simple method. Before we start solving the main question, I need to remind you of one important math rule. In mathematics, when we want to find the root of a number, we have to pay attention to whether the root is even or odd. If n is an odd number, then the nth root gives us only one real answer. But if n is an even number, then we need to consider both the positive and the negative cases. Let's look at a simple example. For example, consider the second root of the number 4. Since the second root is even, we get two answers, positive 2 and negative 2. That's because 4 equals 2 to the power of 2. So when we calculate the squared root of it, we have two answers, because both squared 2 and squared negative 2 are equal to 4. So, for an even power, we have to be careful, because both positive and negative values can give the same result. Now let's look at an odd root. For example, the cube root of 8. Since 8 is equal to 2 to the power of 3, the cube root of 2 to the power of 3 is simply equal to 2. So, we have the cube root of 8 is equal to 2. Now, if we want to calculate the cube root of negative 8, we know that negative 8 equals to negative 2 to the power of 3. So, the cube root of minus 8 is equal to minus 2. This shows us something very important. For odd roots, the sign stays clear, but for even powers, positive and negative numbers can produce the same result. Now, with this important idea in mind, let's go back to the main question and solve it. We have this equation. Now, because we have x to the power of 10 on the left side and x minus 1 to the power of 10 on the right side, we are going to take the 10th root of both sides. Why the 10th root? Because both sides are raised to the power of 10, and since 10 is an even number, we have to consider two possible cases. So, from this equation, we can write positive and negative 10th root of x to the power of 10 is equal to positive and negative 10th root of x minus 1 to the power of 10. So, we rewrite it as positive and negative x is equal to positive and negative x minus 1. At first, it may look like there are 4 different sign cases, but actually, they reduce to only 2 main cases. Why? Because if the signs are the same, the result is positive, and if the signs are different, the result is negative. So, in the end, we only need to check 2 cases. Therefore, we can write x equals to positive and negative x minus 1. The first case is the positive case, x equals to positive x minus 1. Now, let's solve it. In mathematics, when we move a term like a number or variable from one side to the opposite side, its sign reverses. So, if we move x from the right-handed side of equation to the left-handed side, its sign will be negative. Therefore, we get x minus x equals negative 1. That gives us o equals negative 1. But this is impossible. So, this case gives us no solution. Now we go to the second case. The second case is x equals negative x minus 1. Now, look carefully. the negative sign outside the parentheses must be multiplied by every term inside the parentheses. Hence, we get x equals negative x plus 1. Now, we move negative x to the left side of the equation considering its sign changes. So, we have x plus x equals 1. Therefore, 2x equals 1. If we divide both sides by 2, we will have x equals 1 over 2. So, the answer we found is x equals 1/2. But we are not going to stop here. In math, we should always check our answer to make sure it really works in the original equation. So, let's test it in the original equation. Now we substitute x equals 1/2. On the left side, we get 1/2 to the power of 10. On the right side, we get 1/2 minus 1 to the power of 10. We want to check to see whether this equality holds or not. Now, let's calculate inside the parentheses 1 over 2 to the power of 10 equals to negative 1 over 2 to the power of 10. Do you think this equation holds true or not? In mathematics, when a negative number is raised to an even power, the result becomes positive because negative times negative is positive. And since 10 is an even number, negative 1 to the power of 10 equals positive 1. So, the left side and right side are equal. That means our answer is completely correct. Therefore, the final answer is x equals 1/2. And that is the beauty of this problem. It looks difficult at first, but once you understand the key idea, the solution becomes very simple. If you want to learn math with simple tricks like this, improve your problem-solving skills, and train your brain to think faster, make sure to follow MathIQ and subscribe to the channel. And don't miss the next videos, because the next problem may look easy, but almost everyone gets it wrong.